My son-in-law used my home office like he owned it. The next day, I walked into my home office Tuesday morning and found Victor Martinez sitting in my chair, using my computer, going through my personal files like he owned the place. "Morning, Brad," he said without even looking up. "Just handling some business calls. Hope you don't mind." I'm Bradley Thompson, 61 years old, retired insurance investigator. I spent 35 years assessing risk, documenting fraud, and catching people who thought they were smarter than the system. And right there, watching my son-in-law treat my private office like his personal workspace, every instinct I'd developed over 3 decades started screaming. Victor had been living in my house for 18 months. My daughter Maggie moved in with him after they got married, bringing my 6-year-old grandson Timothy along. It was supposed to be temporary while they saved money for their own place. Victor sold cars, or at least that's what he claimed. I'd never seen evidence of a single sale. That Tuesday morning, Victor had my insurance files spread across the desk. Personal documents, medical records, financial statements. Everything I'd kept private for decades was laid out like a buffet for him to browse through. My reading glasses sat on top of a stack of papers I'd never given him permission to touch. "What business calls require my personal files?" I asked, adjusting my glasses. "It's a habit I have when I'm calculating risk factors." Victor finally looked up, that entitled smirk I'd grown to recognize over the past year and a half. "Family business, Brad. We're all in this together, right? Besides, you've got nothing to hide." He gestured at the papers like they were community property. "I'm just trying to understand our financial situation better. Make some smart decisions for all of us, our financial situation." Like he'd contributed a single dollar to the mortgage I'd paid off in 2019. Like he'd helped with the property taxes or the utility bills or the insurance premiums. Like this house somehow belonged to him because he'd been sleeping in my guest room for 18 months, eating my food, using my utilities, treating my home like a free hotel with maid service. The worst part was how casual he was about it. No apology, no explanation, no acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, a man's personal office should remain personal. He acted like I was the unreasonable one for questioning why he was rifling through documents that contained my social security number, my medical history, and financial information I'd never shared with anyone except Linda before she passed. These files contain sensitive information. Victor, insurance policies, medical records, tax documents, they're not community property. He leaned back in my chair, the leather creaking under his weight. "Look, Brad, I get that you're used to handling everything yourself, but you're getting older. Things slip through the cracks. I'm just trying to help the family stay organized. Getting older. I was 61, not 91. I still handled my own finances, maintained my own house, managed my own affairs without any assistance from anyone. But Victor had this way of making everything sound like he was doing me a favor. Like I should be grateful he was generous enough to violate my privacy for my own good. I should have thrown him out right then, should have recognized the red flags that were waving so hard they could have generated electricity. But Maggie worked 12-hour shifts at the hospital, and Timothy needed stability after losing his grandmother 3 years ago. Having family in the house again felt like coverage against the loneliness that had been eating at me since Linda's funeral. So I bit my tongue, gathered my papers, moved my important documents to a file cabinet in my bedroom. Started locking the office door when I wasn't using it. Small adjustments to manage the risk, the way I'd learned to do during 35 years of investigating insurance fraud, but Victor wasn't done testing boundaries. He never was. 2 weeks later, I found him using my personal printer to run off hundreds of copies of some marketing material for his latest business venture. The expensive ink cartridges I'd just replaced were already running low, and the paper tray was nearly empty. When I asked about it, he laughed. Actually laughed like the idea that he should ask permission was amusing to him. "Come on, Brad, it's just a few copies. I'll replace the ink eventually. Like everything else he promised to handle eventually, the rent money he'd contribute eventually, the steady job he'd land eventually, the respect for my home he'd show eventually. That's when I started documenting everything. Old habits from my insurance investigation days. I kept a small notebook, the kind I'd used for fraud cases, and recorded dates, incidents, conversations. March 15th, Victor uses office without permission, goes through personal files. March 22nd, Victor prints business materials without asking, promises to replace supplies eventually. March 28th, found Victor on phone in my office, discussing what sounded like personal family finances with someone I didn't recognize. The phone call was the real tipping point. I heard him through the door talking in that confident tone he used when he thought no one was listening. Words like the old man's assets and getting better access to the accounts and timeline for taking control. When he saw me in the doorway, he quickly ended the call and claimed it was about insurance options for Timothy. But insurance investigators develop a sixth sense for when stories don't add up. The timing was wrong, the tone was wrong, and Victor's explanation had more holes than a screen door. I'd heard enough insurance fraud in my career to recognize it when it was happening in my own home. That weekend, I started paying closer attention to my mail. Every credit card statement, every bank notice, anything financial that might reveal what Victor was really up to. That's when I found the first application. A credit card in my name, signature that looked close to mine, but wasn't quite right. The kind of forgery that would fool a quick glance, but not a trained eye that had spent decades examining fraudulent documents. Someone had applied for credit using my personal information, and that someone had intimate access to details only a person living in my house could obtain. According to the statement, I'd been living quite well. $890 dinner at Morton's Steakhouse, a place I'd never set foot in. $1,200 shopping spree at Best Buy for electronics I'd never purchased. $650 at some luxury car detailing service for vehicles I'd never owned. $2,100 at high-end clothing stores for suits that had never hung in my closet. Over 9 months, someone had charged $31,000 to cards I'd never applied for, using my name, my address, my social security number, and financial details that only someone with access to my personal files could have obtained. Someone who'd been sitting in my office, going through my documents, treating my sensitive information like community reading material. I photographed everything, every forged signature, every fraudulent charge, every application I'd never authorized. My hand stayed steady through the whole process, muscle memory from decades of insurance fraud investigations. This wasn't personal yet. This was evidence collection, documentation, building a case the way I'd been trained to do. But then I found the nursing home research, and that's when it became personal. Victor had been browsing websites for senior living communities and memory care facilities. Not just browsing, he downloaded brochures, filled out preliminary applications, and saved email correspondence about placement options for elderly relatives showing signs of cognitive decline. Cognitive decline. I was 61 years old, sharp as I'd ever been, still handling my own finances and managing a household that included his family. But according to these emails, I was a confused old man who needed professional care. The kind of care that would require someone else to handle my assets while I lived out my days in a facility I'd never agreed to enter. The emails laid out a timeline that made my blood run cold. Step 1. Get me evaluated for competency issues by finding a doctor willing to diagnose decline in a healthy man. Step 2. Establish power of attorney while I was still legally able to sign documents. Step 3. Transfer the house deed to ensure proper management of my assets. Step 4. Place me in care within 6 months. My house, the one Linda and I bought in 1987 for $89,000, the one we'd renovated together, room by room, over 30 years, the one where we'd raised Maggie, hosted Thanksgiving dinners, celebrated birthdays and anniversaries. The one where Linda had spent her final months looking out at the garden she'd planted, surrounded by memories we'd built together. Victor saw it as a $650,000 asset to liquidate once he'd warehoused me in some facility where I'd have no control over my own life. The emails spelled it out clearly. Once subject is placed in care and power of attorney is established, property can be sold within 90 days. After facility costs, substantial funds remain for family management. Like he was family. Like he had any claim to assets I'd spent 35 years building through careful planning and hard work. Like my life's savings was somehow his inheritance to collect while I was still breathing. I printed everything, made copies, scanned documents to cloud storage, created the kind of redundant evidence file that would make any prosecutor's job straightforward. This wasn't just theft anymore. This was elder abuse, conspiracy, and probably a dozen other charges that would put Victor away for years. That evening, I called Gerald Foster, my attorney friend from the insurance company. Jerry and I had worked together on fraud cases for 15 years before my retirement. He knew how to build bulletproof documentation, and more importantly, he knew me well enough to take this seriously. Jerry, I need legal advice about elder abuse. I'm the victim. The silence on the other end stretched for maybe 10 seconds. Then, "Brad, are you serious?" Completely serious. Credit card fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit me to a care facility against my will. I've got documentation. Lots of it. Jerry's voice shifted into the professional mode I remembered from our fraud investigations. Don't confront them yet. Don't let them know you're onto them. Make copies of everything. Multiple copies. Cloud storage, USB drives, safe deposit box. We need to preserve the evidence chain before we make any moves. Already on it. I've got 6 complete sets of evidence stored in different locations. Good, that's the Brad Thompson I remember. Now listen carefully. We're going to file for an emergency restraining order, freeze your assets to prevent further fraud, and then decide whether to pursue criminal charges or handle this civilly. But first, I need to see everything. I spent the next weekend organizing evidence like I was preparing for the most important case of my career. Because in a way, I was. This wasn't about money or property or even justice. This was about survival. About preventing my own son-in-law from stealing my life while I was still living it. Monday morning, I contacted my bank. Carol Stevens, the branch manager, had handled our accounts for 20 years. She'd processed Linda's life insurance, helped me restructure my finances after retirement, and knew my signature better than anyone except maybe Jerry. When I showed her the evidence, her expression went from professional concern to genuine alarm. She examined each forged signature with a magnifying glass, compared them to documents in my file, and shook her head. "Mr. Thompson, this is textbook elder financial abuse. These signatures are close, but they're definitely not yours. The pressure is wrong. The letter formation is off. And whoever did this made the classic mistake of trying too hard to be perfect. What's our next step? We freeze every account immediately. File fraud reports with law enforcement. Contact the credit agencies to flag your social security number. And most importantly, we document everything so thoroughly that no prosecutor could possibly lose this case." By noon Monday, every credit card was frozen. Every fraudulent charge was flagged for investigation. A paper trail existed that would make prosecution straightforward. Victor's access to my financial life was cut off completely, though he didn't know it yet. Tuesday morning, while Victor was supposedly job hunting and Maggie was at the hospital working another double shift, I made the call that would change everything. Timothy Anderson, the locksmith who'd rekeyed the house after Linda's funeral 3 years ago. Tony had been discreet then, understanding that a widower might need better security after losing his wife. He was equally discreet now when I explained I needed all locks changed again. Same-day service, Mr. Thompson. High-security deadbolts on all entry points. 5 sets of keys each. You'll have complete control over who enters your property. How long will it take? 3 hours. Maybe 4 if we upgrade the hardware on the back door. You want this done while they're out? Exactly. And Tony, I need your complete discretion on this. You got it, Mr. Thompson. Some things are nobody else's business. By 3 p.m. Tuesday, every lock in the house was changed. Front door, back door, garage, basement entrance. Victor's keys would no longer work anywhere on my property. I tested each lock twice, adjusting my glasses as I examined Tony's work. Perfect installation. No gaps, no weaknesses. Complete security. Then came the hardest part. Packing their belongings. I used the sturdy contractor boxes I'd saved from my office renovation, not suitcases. This wasn't a vacation they were leaving for. This was permanent removal from my home. Everything Victor had brought into my house over 18 months went into those boxes. His clothes, his electronics, his collection of self-help books about getting rich quick. Every item that reminded me he'd been living here rent-free while stealing from me. Maggie's belongings were harder to pack. Each item carried memories, the sweater I'd given her for Christmas, the nursing textbooks she'd studied at my kitchen table, Timothy's drawings that she'd hung on her bedroom wall. But I packed them anyway, carefully, because she'd made her choice when she defended Victor's behavior for 18 months. Timothy's toys were the worst. The building blocks we'd played with, the picture books I'd read to him, the stuffed elephant he'd named Gerald after Jerry Foster. A 6-year-old caught in the middle of adult problems he couldn't understand. But Victor's crimes affected all of us. And Timothy would be safer away from a man willing to commit elder abuse for money. By 5 p.m., 8 contractor boxes sat lined up by the front door like soldiers waiting for deployment. Everything they'd brought into my house, ready to leave it. I arranged them neatly, labeled them clearly, made sure nothing was damaged or missing. Even in anger, I wasn't petty. At 7:15, I heard Maggie's car in the driveway. The familiar sound of her engine, then the car door closing, then footsteps on the walkway Linda and I had laid with our own hands in 1994. Through the window, I could see her approaching the front door, keys already out, expecting another evening of enabling her husband's theft. The fumbling started immediately. Key inserted, won't turn, try again, check the key, try a different angle. I watched her growing confusion through the peephole, saw the moment when concern replaced irritation. I opened the door exactly 6 inches, security chain engaged. "Hi, sweetheart." "Dad, something's wrong with my key. It won't turn." Her voice carried the exhaustion of a 12-hour shift and the worry of a woman whose world was about to change forever. "The locks have been changed, Maggie." Her expression shifted from confusion to something approaching fear. "Why would you change the locks? We live here? This is our home. You live here. Victor doesn't—" "Not anymore." I held up one of the credit card statements, the one with his forged signature clearly visible. "He's been stealing from me for 9 months. Forging my signature, planning to put me in a nursing home so he can sell my house." The paper trembled slightly in my hand, not from fear but from the controlled anger I'd been managing for weeks. 35 years of insurance investigation had taught me to present evidence calmly, let the facts speak for themselves. Maggie stared at the statement, her nursing background helping her recognize documentation when she saw it. "Dad, that can't be right. Victor wouldn't. He's not perfect, but he wouldn't steal from you. $31,000 over 9 months, Maggie. Every signature forged, every charge unauthorized." I showed her another document, then another. "And here's the correspondence about nursing homes. Applications filled out with my personal information. Plans to sell this house once I'm warehoused somewhere." Victor's truck pulled into the driveway at 8:10. That aggressive rumble he thought made him sound successful. I watched him stride toward the door with that confident swagger, keys already out, expecting another evening of treating my home like his personal headquarters. The swagger disappeared the moment his key wouldn't work. He tried 3 times, then started pounding on the door hard enough to rattle the frame. "Brad, what's going on? Open up." I unhooked the security chain and opened the door fully, stepping onto my own porch for the first time in months without feeling like I needed permission. Victor started to push past me, that entitled movement I'd grown to despise. But I held up the fraud documentation like a shield. "Your belongings are packed. You have 10 minutes to load them and leave my property." His face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Surprise that his scam had been discovered. Anger that he'd been caught. Then that calculating look I'd learned to recognize, the one that meant he was working on a new lie. "You're making a mistake, old man." The false friendliness was gone now, replaced by the contempt he'd been hiding for 18 months. "Maggie, tell him this is insane. Tell him he's confused." But Maggie was staring at the credit card statements, the forged signatures, the nursing home brochures spread out like evidence in a courtroom. Her nursing background included training in recognizing elder abuse signs, and she knew real documentation when she saw it. "Victor," she said quietly, her voice barely audible over the evening traffic, "is this real? Did you really steal from my father? Did you really plan to put him in a nursing home? It's complicated, babe." His voice got louder, more desperate. The way guilty people always sound when the evidence is overwhelming. It's not stealing when it's family. "I was trying to help manage things, make some investments, set us up for the future. Your dad's getting older, someone needs to handle the financial stuff." By forging his signature, by researching nursing homes behind his back, by planning to sell his house without his consent, Victor's composure cracked completely. He deserved it, living in this big house all alone while we're crammed into one bedroom. All this money just sitting there while I'm busting my ass trying to make sales. It was going to be ours eventually anyway when he died. The honesty was brutal and revealing. This wasn't about helping family or managing finances. This was about entitlement. About a man who thought he deserved my life's work because waiting for inheritance was inconvenient. I kept my voice level, the way I'd learned to do during hostile depositions. "You have 5 minutes now. Take the boxes and leave." The silence stretched between us like a wire under tension. Maggie stood frozen on the porch, still holding the evidence, still processing that her husband had been systematically robbing her father for months while she defended his behavior. Timothy sat in her car, probably wondering why the adults were standing around looking so serious. Victor grabbed 2 boxes, threw them in his truck with enough force to probably damage whatever was inside. His movements were sharp, violent. The actions of a man whose carefully constructed con had just collapsed. Maggie took the other 2 boxes, moving slowly, mechanically, like someone in shock. "This isn't over," Victor called from his truck, pointing at me with the kind of rage that comes when entitled people face consequences. "You'll regret this, old man. You'll regret taking everything from me." I closed the door and turned the new deadbolt. The sound was solid, final, the most satisfying click I'd heard in 18 months. For the first time since Victor moved in, my house was truly mine again. But I should have known he wasn't done. 2 nights later, at 2:20 a.m., Victor made good on his threat. The sound of breaking glass jerked me awake, followed by the unmistakable crunch of metal being struck repeatedly. My bedroom window overlooked the driveway, and I could see him stumbling around my truck with a baseball bat, drunk and furious. I grabbed my phone and started recording video, thumb steady, despite the adrenaline. Documentation, always documentation. 35 years of insurance investigation had taught me that evidence captured in real time was worth more than any witness testimony. Victor smashed both headlights first, then worked on the windshield, spider-webbing the safety glass with deliberate, methodical swings. He was too drunk for accuracy, but determined enough for damage. Next came the side mirrors, then the door panels, each impact echoing through the quiet suburban night. I called 911 while continuing to record. "This is Bradley Thompson at 12,147 Oak Street. My son-in-law is vandalizing my truck with a baseball bat. He's intoxicated, and I have video evidence. Officers are en route, Mr. Thompson. Stay inside and keep recording." Victor had moved onto the hood when Officer Benjamin Richards arrived, red and blue lights cutting through the darkness. The arrest was quick and efficient. Victor was too drunk to run, too angry to cooperate intelligently, too stupid to realize he was making his legal situation exponentially worse. "You don't understand." He shouted as Officer Richards cuffed him. "That old bastard stole everything from me. He threw us out. He ruined my family." "Sir, you're under arrest for vandalism, public intoxication, and violation of the restraining order that was filed yesterday." Richards was professional, calm, the kind of cop who'd seen this scenario play out dozens of times. "Anything you say can and will be used against you in court." The video I'd captured was clear and damning. Victor's face was visible. The damage was extensive. His admission about being thrown out established motive. Even a public defender would advise him to plead guilty rather than fight evidence this overwhelming. 3 weeks later, Victor took a plea deal. 15 months in county jail, 3 years probation, full restitution for the $31,000 in fraud, plus $3,800 in damages to my truck. The judge also issued a permanent restraining order, meaning Victor would never be allowed within 500 feet of my property again. "Mr. Martinez," the judge said during sentencing, "elder abuse is one of the most despicable crimes we see in this courtroom. You violated the trust of a man who opened his home to you, and you did it for pure greed. This sentence reflects the seriousness of your actions." Maggie filed for divorce 2 days after the sentencing. She'd found an apartment near the hospital, close enough for Timothy to walk to the elementary school Linda and I had researched when Maggie was his age. The apartment was small but clean, with a playground visible from the kitchen window. "I should have seen it sooner," she told me one Sunday evening about a month after Victor started serving his sentence. We were sitting on my back porch, watching Timothy chase fireflies in the garden Linda had planted. The signs were all there. The way he talked about money, about what we deserved, about your house being too big for one person. "Abusers are skilled at manipulation," I replied, adjusting my reading glasses as I watched my grandson's joy. "They make their victims feel responsible for the abuse. That's how they operate. The important thing is you recognized the truth when you saw the evidence." She was quiet for a long moment, then said, "He tried to call me from jail last week, wanted me to visit, to bring Timothy. Said he was sorry and it would never happen again." "What did you tell him?" "I told him sorry doesn't fix fraud. Sorry doesn't undo 9 months of stealing from my father. And I told him if he ever contacts Timothy, I'll file for another restraining order." 6 months later, my house sounds different. Not the tense silence of walking on eggshells around someone else's moods, not the constant noise of conflict and manipulation, but the comfortable sounds of a home where people respect each other. Timothy stays over during Maggie's night shifts, sleeping in the room that used to be my office, now converted back to the guest bedroom it was meant to be. We have Saturday morning pancake traditions. Using Linda's recipe and the cast iron skillet, she taught me to season properly. We work in the garden together, Timothy learning to plant seeds the way his grandmother showed me. Maggie visits twice a week for dinner, sometimes bringing takeout from the Chinese place Linda and I used to love, sometimes cooking in my kitchen the way she did before Victor convinced her she was too busy to maintain family traditions. "Dad," she said last Sunday, helping me wash dishes after Timothy had fallen asleep watching cartoons, "I want you to know how grateful I am. Not just for taking us in when we needed help, but for being strong enough to protect us when I couldn't protect myself." I kept one piece of evidence from the whole ordeal, the first credit card statement, the one that made me realize something was seriously wrong. It sits in my desk drawer now, not as a reminder of betrayal, but as proof that I'm never too old to stand up for myself. Victor is scheduled for release in 9 months. Jerry assures me the restraining order will hold, that my documentation created an airtight legal barrier that will last years beyond his prison sentence. But I'm not worried. I learned something important during those 18 months of manipulation and theft. Dignity isn't given, it's claimed. And I'm definitely not too old to claim mine. These days, my office door stays unlocked again. Not because I have nothing to hide, but because I have nothing to fear. The only people who enter are family members who understand that respect is earned through actions, not assumed through relationship. And if someone ever again mistakes my kindness for weakness, well, I've still got those investigative skills. Some things you never forget how to do. The best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting your life back and teaching your family through your actions that dignity isn't negotiable at any age. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones most capable of destroying you because they know exactly where your weaknesses are, and they have the keys to everything you've built. When someone shows you who they really are through their actions, believe them the first time. Your gut instincts about manipulation are usually right, even when your heart wants to give family the benefit of the doubt.